You know, when you see cranberries in the grocery store, it's the holidays. We love cranberries. So, this Southern classic pecan cranberry bread starts with 1 cup of fresh cranberries. Now, these have been washed and dried a little, and you'll want to give these a rough chop. Now, you can put them in a processor, you could do it by hand. I'm going to be using this chopper here. This is one that my grandmother used. So, every time I see this one, I love getting my hands on it. So, just a rough chop. They're so beautiful. This chopper does a grand job. They are chopped up now, and I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar to these, about a tablespoon, and we'll toss these around and then we'll set these over to the side. It smells so good. Grab yourself your 9 by 4 loaf pan. Now I have greased this, but I have also lined it with some parchment paper. This will be great for removing that loaf from the pan when it's done. Then set this one over to the side. Also, preheat your oven 350 degrees. Next, we're going to need some pecans. Now, you might call them pecans, but here in South, we call them pecans. You're going to need about 1.5 cups of pecans. If you pecans. If you don't want like a lot of nuts in it, you can cut back a little. But I think 1.5 is perfect. I'm going to give these a rough chop as well. These have been roasted. And guys, anytime you bake, it brings out so much more flavor. If you'll bake them first, you just bake them at like 350. I did these for 9 minutes and then they're perfect. After you get these chopped, set them over to the side, and then we're going to work on our dry ingredients. So, for our dry ingredients, we need 1.5 cups of all purpose flour. We need some baking soda. And for the baking soda, I'm sorry, guys, I forgot how much to put in here. 1 teaspoon of baking, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I can't remember all of the ingredient measurements in these breads, but they are so simple. And the ingredients you already have in your kitchen. So now you're going to need some salt, and you need 1 teaspoon of salt. So just add this in, and then we're just going to whisk this around. Just give it a little whisk, just to get everything incorporated. I think I grabbed the biggest whisk I got in the house, didn't I? I don't think I needed it quite this big, but it'll do the job. Now we're going to work on our wet ingredients. So grab your mixing bowl, and guess what, guys? You do not need a mixer for this one, so that makes it so much easier. So in your mixing bowl, you're going to need, I'm getting there, okay? You're going to need 1/2 cup of butter. Now, I have melted this in the microwave and it's cooled a little bit. So just add that over to your mixing bowl, and we're going to add some sugar to this. We love those tart cranberries, but a little sugar goes a long way with them babies. Looking for my sugar, sugar, sugar. So you need 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Oh my goodness, I made a mess. And you're going to need a whole cup of white sugar. And then we're just going to whisk this around just a little to get it incorporated. Guys, I have got to grab my milk. So give me just 1 second. Let me step over to the refrigerator and grab some milk because this stuff is clumpy. Now, how do you start baking without any liquid for sure? Okay. This girl can do it. You need 1 cup of milk. we're using a 2%. You can use whole milk. You can use probably skim milk even. We just don't ever have skim milk in the house. I used to drink skim milk all the time because my doctor said that I was too fat. I drank too much milk too. So he suggested that I switch to skim. And over the years, I've went back up to 2%. You'll also need 2 eggs. Now, these are at room temperature. Get all this whisked in good. Just whisk, whisk, whisk. I just love these breads around the Christmas time. I like to have them, keep them in the freezer. So you could double this recipe. You could have one to eat now, and then you could put the other in the freezer and pull it out. Very easy for breakfast, for dessert, or even for a snack. Okay, so it is that delicious. Slice you off a piece, put it in the toaster, slather some butter on it, and you're set, okay? That's all mixed up. I'm going to clean up a little bit here, and then we're going to start pulling this together. So we have our dry ingredients here, but before we add these in, guys, we have got to put some vanilla flavoring. Now, we don't bake anything down south without a little bit of vanilla flavoring, maybe a little bit more than a little. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of this. I just eyeballed it. If I get a little bit more, that's okay. We don't mind. I'm going to give it another quick whisk just to get that vanilla throughout that liquid, the liquid. Now we'll start adding in our dry ingredients. So this is that 1.5 cups of flour. So just add this in slowly, and you want to mix this until it just comes together. Oops, just comes together. You don't want to over mix it. So just keep whisking. I might build a muscle. Who knows? I think the only muscle that I build is around my mouth, but don't nobody say that, okay? Oh, just keep adding it in. I added that a little bit quicker than what I wanted. It just kind of went blup, but we'll get it mixed in here. Just mix, 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 mix. I do so like, though, that for some of these breads, and this one in particular, okay, so the Southern pecan cranberry bread, that we don't have to get a mixer out. That's mixed good enough. I don't see any big clumps in it. Now we're going to start folding in our pecans and our cranberries. So our pecans first. So this was that 1.5 cups. And I'm going to start folding these in. I'm going to save just a little bit, because I think I'm going to put a little on the top. I am going to put a glaze on this. You can put a glaze on yours if you want to, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. So I'm just going to give this a quick fold. This is not a thick batter. I was really expecting it to be a little bit thicker, but I'm sure it will be delicious. We'll see in a minute, okay? All of us at the same time. Now I'm going to add those cranberries. Now I'm just going to add a few to fold in, and then I want to pour half of the batter in the loaf pan and then add the cranberries to the top, because sometimes your fruit in a bread will sink to the bottom. So if these do sink to the bottom, I want to make sure I have some on top, so when they sink, they'll be throughout the bread. So let's get that loaf pan. Got that loaf pan, and it's lined, and we're going to pour half of the batter in here. Come over here. Watch this batter. It is beautiful. Just pour half of that batter, actually a little bit more than half, okay, guys, because we want those cranberries closer to the top. So I'm going to say that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the rest of those cranberries. Look at how beautiful those are. We'll let them do as they want to do. I do want to get all of them in there, though. Look at that. I love that red, okay? Christmas is my favorite time of the year anyway. And red is one of my favorite colors. And now let's get this rest of the batter poured over. What a delicious bread this is going to be. That southern pecan cranberry bread. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is going in the oven. I'm going to press them down just a little. I just don't like them peeking up. Okay. We're going to place this in the oven. We're going to bake at 350 degrees for approximately 55 minutes until it passes the cake test. Our southern pecan cranberry loaf is out of the oven and it smells so good. And the top of it is my favorite part, okay, is crispy. This is going to be delightful. I need to set it over and let it cool. And, I cannot leave good enough alone, and this would be good enough. But I'm going to make a glaze to go on top of ours. You can do that. You can omit it. It's still going to be delicious. But let's get into that glaze. Now, while that southern pecan cranberry bread is cooling, I'm going to make for it a orange glaze. Now, guys, if you have never had orange and cranberry together, it is so good. I have an orange cranberry bread on the channel too. I'll link it to the end. You may want to try that as well. So I'm going to start by zesting some of this orange peel, and I'm going to be using this orange peel in the zest, but I'm going to also use some of the orange juice. Now, while you're zesting that orange, you'll want to make sure that you do not get down to the white part of the orange. You just want to get that outside peel. If you get down to the white part, you start seeing white in there, that's going to be bitter. So you don't want to use that. We're going to also use some of the orange juice in that glaze. So just juice an orange. I'm using a juicer that my grandmother used. So this one is a treasure in the kitchen. So just juice it. Now we don't need that much. I'm only going to juice half of it. I just love that smell. Well, I'm going to set this over to the side, move it. I need to get my sugar over here. So I have 1 3/4 cups of confectionery sugar. Now to this, I'm going to add my orange juice. So just add a little bit of that. You're going to be adding somewhere around, probably the whole half juice from that half orange, which should be about 1/4 of a cup. We're going to stir that around. Just get it mixed in. It looks goopy when you start doing this, but it does come together. I think I'm going to need just a little bit more orange for this, so I'm going to juice this other half. I may not need all of this. You will want to add this sparingly. Of course, if you get your glaze too thick, you can always add a little bit more sugar. But I prefer to not get it thick to have to add the additional sugar. Just add the liquid in a little at a time. Just stir it up. Stir, stir, stir. I think I said if it gets too thick, you add more sugar. If it gets too thick, you add more liquid. If it's too thin, you add more sugar. So I think that's definitely right, okay? If I did say too thick before, just scratch that, okay? I have a teaspoon of melted butter here, and this is unsalted. You could use salted if you wanted to, it'd be just fine. I'm going to add that in, and that will bring a little bit of extra richness to this glaze. And now we will add that orange zest. Okay, that is all mixed up and it is beautiful. You want to take a look at it? Look at that glaze. That is going to be so good. Now that our glaze is ready, I'm going to move our bread over to a rack and let it fully cool before we put this glaze on top. Look at how beautiful. The southern pecan cranberry bread has cooled, not completely, but almost. I'm going to move it over to a plate. Now, guys, if you did not want your glaze on your plate, Please don't break. You could always glaze it on the rack. And if you do that, put your piece of parchment paper up under it so you don't have such a big mess to clean up. So I'm going to sit that over there. Now we're going to get that glaze on there. Get it sitting straight on my plate here. Now, I love mixing up glazes in the mixing cup because I can just pour it on. Now, if your glaze gets too thick while you were sitting waiting, you can pop it in your microwave and it will thin out for you, okay? Ours did not get too thick, but it is thick, okay? It's not super runny, but I like it like this. So just pour this on in any fashion that you want to put it on, okay? I'm just doing a little zigzag, and then I'm going to zigzag again. Any that goes on our plate, that will be fine because my cameraman loves some sweet, okay? And this glaze is so delicious. I had to have some of it, and it is so good. Again, the glaze is not required. The bread is going to be good all by itself, but why leave good enough alone? I'm going to set this over to the side. I'm going to grab a knife and we're going to get into this. I almost forgot that we saved some of those pecans for the top of this. So they're going on now. So you've got to have those pecans on there too. It is a dead giveaway of what's under it. That is beautiful. Come over and take a look at this. Look at that beauty. You can see the orange flecks in the glaze and those pecans. This is going to be so good. Let's slice it. Can you see that in there? Have you got it? I'm going to cut a big slice here. I want to see exactly what we're working with here. Oh, yeah, that is beautiful. Look at those cranberries in there. Look at the pecans. I'm going to get into this. I wished I could hand you a slice of it. Still a little warm. Oh my. Mm, that is so good. The tart of those cranberries, the pecans, the brown sugar. Oh my goodness. And that glaze. This is one delicious bread. Mm. Guys, I know that you'll want to serve this over the holidays before those cranberries are not on the shelf anymore. This is another one of those simple recipes. Simply Southern Grub. Okay, that's where we get the name. Let me know when you try it, how you like it. Put me a comment, add me a comment. The recipe for this will be down in the description. I hope that you have enjoyed this recipe. And if you did, you give me that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and hit notifications so that you get all of our recipes when they post. And until next time, you guys take care and God bless.